Gretchen. So happy to have you here.
It is so good to be here, Terry. I've always enjoyed spending time with you.
Oh, me too. Me too. We met many moons ago in San Francisco, and you're calling in from,
I'm from Florida right now,
okay, right. From previously.
from Tennessee, just moved
Yes.
here in January. So very happy
Yes.
to be here.
Great. And I'm very happy that you're here today, and I'm really grateful. I'm excited about what's possible here. What is your son's name and age?
His name is David, and he is 36 years old.
Okay. And does he live near you?
He's in Tennessee. I left him
Okay.
back there. Yep. A little nervous about that, but I
I
did.
love that. I left him back there. Wow. Do you want to tell me a little bit about what that means? I left him back there.
Well, a lot has transpired since that time, but when we were moving here, he was in a place where he felt very alone. He was in a relationship that's very long distance, but he wanted more. And he's not one to kind of go out easily and meet people and all that. So by him saying to me, I'm lonely, even though I know I'm not what he needs to help with that loneliness, it was very, very hard for me to leave him. It was very emotional. I could still get cry about it, but things have progressed in his life, and I'm very happy. Very, very happy.
And he is,
Yes, he is.
he's
He's
happy
very happy,
too.
and he's not alone.
Imagine. Wow. What
Yeah,
mothers have to hold, right? And
yes,
choose.
exactly. Yes.
Well, I am aware, just from you telling me over the years we've known each other, that you have a very close connection with David, and it's always been touching and inspiring to me. So, welcome.
Thank you. Thank
So,
you.
let's explore this wonderful relationship, mothers and sons. I'm going to share a quote, a couple of the thoughts with you, and then just hear your mother son thoughts. Okay. Um, all her unresolved feelings about men will influence how she both shapes and reacts to her son's developing maleness, and thusly imprint her son and his future relationships. Should I read it again?
Well, no, I heard
Okay.
it.
Okay.
And
And then,
good.
uh, woo,
No. Yep.
put your seatbelt on.
Yes.
She's still here.
Yeah.
And then to add, do sons internalize their mother's thoughts, beliefs, feelings, and emotions about men and maleness? So there's just the stimulating idea,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm interested to hear your stimulating ideas.
Well, I will say that's very, very appropriate. When I had David, I did not have um, good male relationships. I struggled with them. Even though I had thought I had it all together, I didn't. After having David, I realized that I probably needed some therapy to be able to raise my child and give to him what I guess was lacking, or I'm not even sure if that's the right word, but what had happened in my life that it doesn't happen in his life.
If you could
Um,
tell us, Gretchen, what age you were when you had
when I had
David?
him, I was 33. A month later, I was 34, so I was older.
Okay.
Yes, and very ready to have a child.
Yes.
Wanted it desperately. Um,
And
so
if you
yeah,
would share what the maleness issue was for you that you felt that you wanted support about.
I wasn't a good picker. I didn't pick the right people for me. Uh,
Mm.
and I think a lot of that was childhood issues that had happened, and always trying to be maybe what that person wants instead of who I was. So there were a lot of things in there that kind of entwined and made me like I said, I think mostly just picked the wrong people for me. They weren't bad people.
Mhm.
I just didn't need to be with them. I didn't need to be with them.
Mhm.
So
So maybe they weren't bad choices to not be with them?
yeah, they were not the people that I really needed to be with. They were there, uh, different reasons why I was with them, and I never felt like I allowed them to know who I was. I tried to be what they were wanting,
Oh,
is what it was,
okay.
and
Okay.
that didn't work. That
All
didn't
right.
work very well.
Right. And
It
can
did.
you tell me, if you would, Gretchen, how you felt about men, like qualities or, your ideas about them while you were pregnant with David?
Um, I don't know that I really had a lot of feelings at that point. Being pregnant, I think I was so overjoyed with having a child, and I was convinced it was a girl, even though the doctor kept saying, sounds boyish, sounds boyish. I'm like, no, no boys, no boys.
And why were you thinking that?
Why was I thinking no boys, no
No
boys?
boys.
I, I, I guess at that time I just thought I would do better raising a girl, that,
Because
because I was a girl, because I was a girl.
get it.
I know how they are.
I get it.
Get sneaky and all this kind of stuff.
Yes. Yes.
So, yeah. So I
And
don't
were
think
you in partnership at the
Mhm.
time?
I was, yes.
Okay.
And that relationship was probably the most destructive one that I was in at that time.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Um,
So
it
you
did,
did have some feelings about, would guess, about men while you
yes.
were pregnant and while he was a young boy. So
Yeah.
if you're willing, what were those?
Again, realizing that I had made a poor choice. No, I don't want to say, I don't like to use those words. I made a choice that was not good for me. And it did not last very long after David was born. I did escape, and it was escape. It was an actual, he's not here, let's go kind of thing. And I wanted to get David away. And I think David was the big catalyst for me of, I can't do this with him. I don't want him to grow up this way. So that was me like, okay, it's time. I got to figure out the right way and go. And I did.
It was a dangerous situation that you were in. So you knew the mother heart knew she had to go.
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
exactly. I was not going to put him through that at all. So he was 13 months old and put him in the car and headed to Tennessee.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
So your unresolved feelings, if they were, and you sought some therapy for
I did. Yes.
these. Do you feel like any of your internalized thoughts, beliefs, feelings, emotions about men um, were carried into and over to David in any way?
I don't think so.
Mm.
Once I realized the issues from childhood and how
His or yours?
mine,
Issues from your childhood, okay, that you were getting support with therapy. Is that
yes,
correct? Okay.
yes, yeah. It's one of those things. I was molested. I'll just say that I was molested, and I never really recognized it until that therapy. And I did not want my my baggage to go to my child.
Okay.
So that was one of those things of I worked very hard at not having any, and I didn't have any hard feelings of the fact that he was a boy. I loved him so, so much. And I don't know, it just never seeped over into our relationship. And when he was born and they put him on my stomach, he turned to me and we made eye contact. And it's like we bonded at that moment. And so it wasn't, I never threw any of my past stuff toward men, toward him. It just didn't happen.
So when he was growing up, you spoke highly of men in general and put men in his path and
Yes.
trusted him with men.
Yes, I did.
So tell me.
Yeah, go ahead. The only one that I didn't trust him with was my molester, and I didn't let him be alone with him.
Okay. And what about, was it his father that you left when he was 13 months old?
Yeah.
If you're open, did you let David spend time with him as he grew up, or no?
No. He didn't really want to, so it wasn't a big issue. He did try a couple of times to come by, and and I just said, well, you're not going to do David the way you did Will, your other son, of just bopping in here once every 3 or 4 years, getting his hopes up and all this kind of stuff. I'm not allowing that. That's not fair to him. You're an adult. You can do better. And I said, and this was several years ago, and I was like, if you will reach out to him, even though he's little, and write, I said call. He said, I can't afford that. I said, well, if you could just write 3 letters a month, and I will read them to him. If he will do that, I said, then we can talk about you being able to see him. He did none of that, so I really didn't have to worry too much about that until he reached out to him when David was 18. And he did reach out.
On his own reached out to his son at 18. And was David open?
David talked, it was on MySpace. I remember MySpace. They were on that. And David, he corresponded with him a little bit, but I read the last one that he wrote to him and wrote to David, and David just wrote back and said, don't you ever talk about my mother again. No more. And that was it for him. He just cut him off.
Okay. Set a boundary that was good for him.
Yes, it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Amazing. I'm picturing how you looked into each other's eyes. It wasn't just you bonding with him, it was him bonding with you. And
yes, that's
rising up for you.
Yes.
It's so beautiful. That connection is astounding.
It is. It is.
Right.
And still there.
Oh, it's still there. Yes.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yes. So when you see him moving through the world and making decisions, and I'm just picturing what it must be like for him. Of course, he's not here to ask this, but having had that imprint of his father, does he know about your being molested?
I have never really come out and told him who or what, but I think he has a pretty good idea just of conversations that you have.
Yeah.
So I think he knows. I didn't know. I didn't want that to. It was his grandfather, so I didn't want him to, have bad feelings toward him.
His father's father, or your?
It was my stepfather. My
stepfather. Okay.
But he was
again. There's you mothers holding space for their sons. So, I'm just wondering if he saw this interview and he didn't know.
I don't know that he would be surprised.
Okay. And I wonder what it's like for a young man or a man to, know these things about their mothers. I'm always questioning at what time do I share certain elements about my life to my son, and just curious what you think about.
I've shared a lot with him about life. And usually
being a woman.
About being a woman, and I have.
I think it's important. Yeah,
I do too. I think so, and what women can go through and stuff. So I have shared a lot of that, and I think it's always one of those things I don't go, oh, now I need to tell him. I think it's one of those, we get into some really good conversations, and that's when a lot of stuff comes up. We'll have, these beautiful conversations.
Yeah, I just feel like that they can learn from that. For me, I want my son to learn from my mistakes and from things that I feel have been successful.
Yes.
And so at age appropriate or timing, like you're talking about, I allow them to come through me. But it's really intentional. And the more I talk with mothers, the more I get the feeling that it's kind of like this thing we know when to share or if to share.
Yes.
However, I do think it's important, and it's a real tool for mothers to share their experiences with men or their sons to know. How would they know?
Yeah, exactly. How would they know?
The women that they're attracting is probably more their age, hasn't had the experiences of their mothers. I've actually never said this before, and never quite pulled this together, but I think it's really powerful tool, healing and learning tool for moms to share the good, the bad, and the ugly at appropriate times. Yeah,
I think so too. They, I know when their children are young, you don't want them to know that you're vulnerable. You want them to think that you can see them from behind. You want that. But as they get,
how did you describe it? You want them to see?
I think when they're young, you don't really want them to realize that you're vulnerable, that you're real, because you want them to think that you really can see out the back of your head what they're doing. That's my feelings about that. You want that. But as they get older, then, and I think it depends on the age it depends on the child, how much they're curious and all this, and then you can share with them.
I agree. I'm not quite sure what you mean by looking. My sense is that if I go ahead, share. I'll let you stop, Faker.
I think it's like you want them to have that little bit of fear that she's going to see what they're doing. Like you're standing there and you're cooking, and you say, "Okay, I know what you're doing."
Oh, so you're big and strong, and you're aware of what's going on. You want them to know that.
You want them to know that you can see them at all times.
Okay, so I got it. Yeah, there's that, and to the vulnerable part is that I want my strength to be transferred to my son.
Yes.
However, I want for sure my vulnerability to be transferred. So it's a real dance, isn't it?
It is. And I think it does occur through life experiences as things go along. If you can talk to me about something, I'm like, well, at my age, or, I've done this, or I've done that, or I've seen that happen, Yeah.
Yeah, this was a challenging time in my life. This is what it felt like. This is how I healed it.
Yes.
Tough conversations, but my sense is that they're really important.
I think, yes.
Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely. How else do they learn if you don't have that conversation with them?
Right. Yeah. And it's very powerful because it's coming from the other.
Yeah, that's right.
From the mother, yes.
The mother. And, I find, and I know it's not all, but a lot of men can't talk about those emotions. They can't
talk about what?
Emotions. A lot of men can't talk about that. So if he's around a man, he might not hear that. Where a mom, you hear that. Yes.
Yeah.
You get to hear those emotions and understand that, hey, that made me mad, or that hurt my feelings.
Right. And they're prepared for if they relate with another female.
Yes.
Or if they're relating with another male, that male has emotions. Yeah. So it's good all around.
It is.
Right.
Absolutely.
It's good all around. Wow. Do you have anything else that you want to share? This is really uplifting and inspiring and thought-provoking.
Yeah. I guess even as the years have gone by, even though we've been very, very close, we're still so close. So close. I mean, if he's got something good, he's going to call me. He's got something not so good, he's going to call me. And I really love that. I love that. And just to kind of give a little thing of, he has a stepdaughter. He's not, well, he was had her for a short amount of time, but they have continued seeing each other. And the three of us went on a weekend away the weekend before Thanksgiving. And it was so much fun and so deep. We had one night where the three of us were in the hot tub just talking, and we got into such emotions and talk about love and talk about this. I mean, it was so amazing. It's one of those weekends I will never ever forget, because we all three shared how we felt about so many different things.
And her
And
age?
we felt, huh?
At
She's
her-
18. She's
okay.
18. Yes. So it was just,
How rich.
it was so wonderful to see him as a male passing down to her to talk about emotions and talk about love and talk about, caring and all this. That was, I mean, I would just kind of sat back a lot of times and just listened, going, there you are.
Oh, wow. Proud mother heart.
Very much so.
Wow, I just feel like you're one big mama bear. Way back when you made that choice, 13 months, we got to go. And then
Yes.
another wise and courageous choice to get support.
Mhm. Yeah.
Huge.
I needed to do it
Beautiful.
for him. I did it for him at the time, but also I needed it for me, but I did it for him.
Yes. Love it. Gretchen, thank you so much for your heartfelt honesty and sharing your mother heart with us.
Well, thank you for asking me. I really appreciate it. It's been good and fun.
Great. Take care, my love.
Thank you.
Bye for now.
Okay, see you later.